That is Alessio, Rastani of Leading Trader. Hope you're well. In this video, I want to talk to you about Bitcoin's next likely target, next likely downside target. Now, as you probably know by now, we've already hit two of our first targets, which was 4,500 and 3,500. Now, as I'm making this video, Bitcoin is just underneath 3,600. It's edging closer and closer now to the 3,500 level. So here's the question I want to ask you. Where do you think is Bitcoin's next likely downside target if we continue to push further lower? As you'll see on my chart, there's a key level, which I always have on my charts. That's the green line you see here on my chart right there. That is the 200 weekly, okay, let me just write this down, the 200 weekly moving average, or the simple moving average. All right, always have that on your chart, especially on the weekly and the daily time frames. Why? Because the markets come and test that level over and over again, and I believe that that is Bitcoin's next downside target. All right, guys, watch that level. That's going to be at 3,144. Okay, 3,150 or 3,144 is that likely next target. Let me just give you a couple of examples. If I just draw this chart back, this is a weekly chart of Bitcoin, okay? And let me show you this. It's quite interesting to actually see this. All right, now notice, this is when the 200 weekly average started here in my chart. And look at this. As Bitcoin goes up, okay, this was some years ago, and this is actually in 2015. Notice what happens here. As you can see here, the price of Bitcoin drops, falls to the 200 weekly average, and in fact hugs this level. It closes very close to this level, as you can see there. And then what does it do? It stages a rally. Let me show you another chart. This is the weekly chart of the Dow Jones Industrial Average. This is the stock markets. Now look at this chart of the Dow Jones, and you'll see something very interesting. Back in 2016, the Dow fell quite heavily down to its 200 weekly average. And look at this. It actually touched this level twice and closed above it, as a matter of fact. So we can see once again how price holds the 200 weekly average quite nicely. By the way, I know some of you are probably thinking, well, that's the stock market, not Bitcoin. It doesn't matter. It's all about price action. It's all about the behavior of the price based on psychology of the market participants. Here's another example for you. This is in 2011. Notice again, in 2011, a lot of volatile moves to the downside here. But again, price of the Dow came right here to the 200 weekly average, held this level, bounced off from it. Here's another example for you here. This is the UK FTSE market. Again, look, the FTSE falls down to the 200 weekly average, holds it twice, as a matter of fact. Now, going back to the price of Bitcoin here, I believe that this level, this 200 weekly average on my chart here, on the charts of TradingView, as you can see here, I think this is acting almost like a magnet. It's almost pulling that price towards it, which again is about a 3,150, 3,144 level. And by the way, that level kind of makes sense because that's also very close to the previous highs we formed back in June of last year, by the same level as you can see right there. So it's almost, you can say, it's a sort of support level. If I just draw this line across this level here, it's almost like a support level across that area, as you can see there. Now, as to the question of when do we potentially get to this level, the 200 weekly average, that I don't know. It could be very quickly, in a week's time, or it could be in several weeks' time, by the end of December. As we have seen already, Bitcoin can be rather unpredictable in how quickly it moves. Bitcoin can move very quickly, several hundred points, in just a matter of a few days. I think it's quite likely that if we actually get to this 200 weekly average, which I think is probable, I think it's likely that we might see a bounce, maybe a temporary bounce off that level as a kind of level of support, because Bitcoin is oversold and it hasn't actually seen a bounce so far. So I think that level at the 200 weekly average might be able to provide some temporary support for Bitcoin, maybe a temporary bounce. All right, guys, one important thing I want to mention before I finish this video is this. I'm doing a very important webinar. It's a free webinar, and it's online and live, which is on Thursday, this Thursday at 8 p.m. UK time, which will be 3 p.m. Eastern time. Highly recommend you register for it and attend it. Again, it's free to attend. The webinar is on secrets to reading the markets. I'm going to show you some very important information and strategies which you can actually employ in your analysis. All right, guys, I hope this video helps. If it has, please give it a thumbs up, and also please subscribe for future updates. Thanks very much indeed.